record to this computer. Great. All right, so what I'm about to do now is do a share screen. There we go. Okay, so this is Lauren from the Ask Method coaching group. I'm one of the email copywriters, and this is a really old email, or an email I had to redo a little bit for our purposes, because of course this program no longer exists, and then I had pieces of the email, so I put this together. So I modified some of this for this particular example. So this technically is a sales email. The way it's going to read, it's not going to read like a really like a sales email at all. But it actually is a sales email. I had a relationship with a school or a few schools in New York City in which a child would be consistently failing math, and the child would be diagnosed as having some particular learning disability. And if they met certain criteria beyond that I set up with the school, they could pass my name on to the parent as a possible tutor. And that's the kind of relationship we had. So I didn't accept every single student who met the basic criteria. There was other stuff that had to be going on. And what I did is I framed my program as being, I called it Math for the Elite, right? And I made it seem like an experience, like it's a privilege to be accepted into my program because I don't take everybody. So this email is framing that situation, because at this point, the parents or guardians are desperate, they're upset, their child has a learning disability, they find that out when the kid is in school. So the kid has to be getting support. Now the kid has to get all these supports. They're looking at the other parents. There's a lot of social stuff going on. The kid is kind of despondent towards school. So it's a whole lot going on. So I would frame this as a privilege and honor to be a part of this sort of thing. So I gave it a very positive spin. And this was the sales email I would send to them. And I made it seem, it was a very soft sell, but this was extremely effective in the situations I was entering. So the subject line would be something like, welcome to the program. And the intro, which would be like, dear parent of Joe, whatever, or dear parents, depending on whether or not I actually got the name of the kid, because sometimes I wouldn't get the name of the kid. So that's why when Ryan was talking about on the call, like, you don't necessarily need to collect names. It is true. So if I knew the name of the kid, I would just say, dear parents of Joe, of whoever. Or I'll just say, dear parents or guardians, the basic headline that you would see in a school letter anyway, right? And I would say who I am. My name is Lauren Hazel, and I'm the coordinator of Math for the Elite. I wanted to welcome you and your family to this special program. The school has already sent me certain information about your special situation, and I want to touch base so that we can together create the best learning improvement math program for your child. I have document X and Y ready for you to read at your convenience, verifying your son or daughter's acceptance into the program. The next steps for us to begin the onboarding process are as follows. Number one, reply back to this email with the best times and dates for next week for us to speak on the phone during the week, Monday through Friday, right? And now when I would send out these types of emails before we had Google as we know it, and before we had Calendly and all kinds of scheduling software where you could have a link and all that stuff. So before that stuff was really available to everybody else, I had to go through the back and forth email tag situation. So I would put that. The next step was, please fill out the payment form for the deposit fee of $150. The school will process this on your behalf and you will get a receipt. Number three, please have all guardians and parents on the call if possible. Number four, please feel free to have questions ready for me to answer. Okay, so these are the steps, very clear, very direct. As you can see, I said deposit for the fee of whatever. So I framed it this way because the schools I work with were very elite high schools in New York City. So these are the schools that charge $40,000 for tuition or $60,000 for tuition to go to middle school and high school, right? A year. So I was dealing with a parent who's used to spending money, but I'm also dealing with a parent their kid is going to college. And they're going to go hopefully to the best college, because that's what those schools were all about. So When I said a payment form for the deposit fee of what, it's a very soft sell. I've already made it insinuate, hey, your kid's already gone to the program. You just need to put the nail in a coffin here, right? I move on to when we confirm the time and date of the call, I will have the school forward the FAW packet to me and to you. You will also be sent a confirmation email from me with all my contact information. So I'll stop right there. So that packet was a relationship between me and the school. They would send me a packet of information about the student, right? And of course, I built up a whole trust factor with the school, and I had other things going on. But that packet was special because there was no other program really at those schools that had that kind of situation. Well, what would happen is if a student at, let's say, an elite high school that's 50K a year was having a learning issue, and the parents were finding some outside tutor, the parent, if the tutor was requesting this information, the parent had to go to the school and bring that information to the tutor. And there was a lot of back and forth to the other program outside the school. I had a relationship where I cut out that process, so the parents saved a lot of time and frustration to them. So that right there gives them some relief, because usually the deal is they know they got to run back and forth. So I'm saving them back and forth there. So I'm just mentioning that. And I said they'll be giving a confirmation email on my contact information. So all that is just reassuring, saving you time, and I'm going to reassuring what I'm going to do on my end. So I'm making it seem like I'm really taking care of them already. They haven't even paid me, and I'm really taking care of you at this point. Or I'm letting them know what the process is, what's going to happen. So that know, like, and trust factor, that's what I've been doing in this email. So once again, I would like to congratulate you and your child on being chosen for this program. I look forward to a call. Best, Lauren Hazel, Coordinator of Math for the Elite. And then I had a little reminder, deposit must be made to the school before the call. Please fill out Form A and send it to the school. Okay, so Form A was basically a payment form. It was a form that took like a credit card numbers and all kinds of stuff, or a check. Like the form itself, I didn't need to go into details about what was on the form because the form was very self-explanatory. And that was attached to this email. So this email came with 3 documents. Documents X and Y was basically an overview of my program that the school had, and truthfully, by the time this email was sent, the parent should have already had this document. But I would always like reattach these documents. So it's like a proof to the purchase kind of sort of thing. So, hey, this is the document. This is me. And also I had like an acceptance letter too. So I made up some type of acceptance letter. Hey, your kid's been accepted to this program. So I made it really official. I created an experience, and I made sure that this email reflected that experience because this email is part of the experience. And that's how I looked at it, is that these parents meet my criteria. It is my job to now sell them that I am the best choice. And I do all these little psychological little things in here based on, I know my target audience extremely well. And so 9 times out of 10, I would get $150. And I would get students enrolled in my program. So very, very rarely I didn't get a student enrolled in my program. But 9 times out of 10, I did when I structured things like this. So this was like the first email I would send. Of course, I had like 2 other reminder emails, and they worked extremely well. But usually I got a big response off the first email when I would send something like this. And then the second emails would be just rehashing this and putting emphasis, making sure that the payment form was in. And that was it. And I had a relationship with the school. So they trusted to give the money to the school. That the school wasn't cheating them, and I would just go pick up the money from the school or have the payments processed at the school. So this was for that situation in terms of intro. If I knew the name of the kid, then great. A lot of times I didn't know the specific name of the child necessarily. I knew the family name, but I didn't know it was XYZ. Because the process I just had criteria. The school went through the criteria, and they would send them to me. So they wouldn't necessarily tell me the direct name of the child in an email, because this is back in the day when this is going on. Like, we didn't have as many secure systems that I could have logged into and gotten all the information that we do now. So things were a little different back then. So most of the time was a relatively generic intro, dear parents or guardians, or dear parents of Joe Smith, because I may not know the names of the parents, most likely. And that worked either way. So a lot of times I just went with dear parents or guardians, and got away with it a lot of the time. So this email always worked really well for me. So if you have something like that, this is a very soft selling email, but it's very clear in direction, and it worked extremely well. So I hope this helps. This is a mini review of looking at something I hadn't done in a long time. I hope this helps everybody, and I'll see you in the group.